Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and once again it is time for a squat day, but a quick reminder for those of you who watch these videos, please remember to click like down below. It'd be greatly appreciated. Today was a bad workout for me. You rarely see me have a bad day for maxes. I just couldn't squat today. And looking at it here, I really should have gone with a wide stance. I went with that narrower stance today, and I've noticed my knees had been hurting, and my knees hurt so bad on the ramp up that I almost didn't want to squat. And I stopped at 421 on that safety bar squat. I'm like, that's it. I'm done for the day. I need to start doing some rehab work for my knee tendons, my patellar tendons, which the stuff I prescribe to clients, and I've used this stuff in the past myself. You'll see at the end. I also made a short and a reel for my different pages today on it, which came before this video. So what I'm going to need to do here is I really need to work on just doing the really wide squatting. It's always easier on knees, it's easier on the patellar tendons, everything else. And I went really wide at my last meet, actually, because I went sleeveless, even though I could wear sleeves, and broke a state record on my squat in that last meet. And I did the ultra wide stance, and it went a lot better. I need to build the musculature back up for that. So I really need to be doing the belt squats both my lower days. And I also really just don't feel good from squatting itself. I don't like squatting. It feels uncomfortable to me with a bar. It always has, even though I've put up some big numbers. You guys have seen me hit 600 pounds before when I was at my strongest. So I don't like squatting, but I can build all the musculature and just do the maxes. So I really am looking at it. That's one of the things I don't need to be doing the back off work on. It's not doing too well for me. I've noticed since I've been doing it, my knees hurt, my tendons hurt. So what I need to do is use the belt squats to build that musculature and really push them hard. I need to keep working them out wider. I went wider and wider with each set I did of these. I need to build the hamstrings, continue to build hamstrings to give knee stability, but I need to squat wide. And I'm going to need to start doing the prehab work for the tendons. So for today, I went ahead and did 5 sets of the belt squats, and I did some hamstring work with it today, and I think this is going to be kind of my model even on my deadlift day, right? It's going to be my deadlift stuff, and I'll do volume on the deadlifts. I don't mind doing some volume after my maxes. I'm more comfortable with deadlifts. It will build all the same muscles I need to build for the squat other than the quads and the adductors, so it will handle the axial loading side of everything I need. So I'm fine doing it that way, but I need to build the quads up, and I need to get those tendons healthier. So quads and adductors are going to be a big deal for me again. If I want my squat back to where it was a couple years ago, this is what we have to do. And I've got to get the volume in, but I can't really do it for squatting. Sorry, it's thundering out there. I'm under a tornado warning right now. There's a tornado in the area, but I'm going to go ahead and record because I've got a universal power supply on the desktop here. So it's an uninterrupted continuous power supply with a backup battery, so I should be good. We're just going to roll with it. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to have to do that, and I can't come in and say, oh, I'm going to just not do belt squats on the deadlift day. No, I really need to do them. I need to. I need the volume for those areas. And by that same token, I can't completely skip hamstring work on squat days. I need my hamstrings as thick as possible. And notice my legs are smaller since I've done the cut and had backed off a little bit on some of the quad work. My quads are smaller. Like, they look smaller. I can tell they're smaller. In the videos, they feel smaller to the touch, like they've regressed. So I've got to bring them back up. But I've got to keep those tendons healthy. So, wide stance. Wide stance. And that's the thing I've noticed. Even though I'm very strong at the high bar, narrower stance squats, you guys have seen me do over 500 on that. It doesn't feel the best for my knees. And that's one of the things I agree with Winning and some of those people on. The narrower stance squats, they beat your knees up over time. They really do. We really need to have that vertical shin, that vertical shank. We really do not need it sliding past the toes. And it's been my experience that when you do much squatting to where it does, you start to hurt. And this, we're talking about people who are strong, by the way. I'm not talking about if you squat 315. Okay, nobody cares. Like it doesn't matter at that point. You don't have any weight on the bar. Now, I mean 315 for a man. Now, 315 if you're a woman, okay, you're in that category now. But I've got to do it that way. So that means a wider stance, pushing the hips back. I'll use the belt squat to build the extra musculature to do it, which I've done before. I've done it that way before. Work hamstrings, and then I'm going to need to do some tendon health work. And so if you guys watch at the end, what I do is leg extensions with bands. Now, what's come up already in one of the shorts that I put up with that, someone says, can you replicate that with a normal machine? And I'm like, no, it is specifically with bands. And the reason with bands is the same reason we do this for elbow health for tricep tendons, right? We do the band work. We create that overspeed eccentric at the lockout. The way the bands pull at the lockout, it causes an adaptive response due to the micro tearing in the tendons. It helps build blood flow from the really, really high reps, but it gives that additional micro trauma in the tendons, which will cause your body to start hypertrophying them more. This is beneficial because thicker tendons, better blood flow, better capillary beds around them are how we get rid of this stuff. Tendinitis doesn't go away by just letting it rest. So inflamed tendons actually do require certain amounts of work. Okay, but it can't just be any work. It needs to be very, very additional low loading work that creates that sort of training response, and bands do it the best. So you'll see me doing it here, and it's really easy. I just choke the band off in the rack behind me, get on on a bench, at my little flat bench, loop my feet into it around my ankles, and just do leg extensions. Now you have to be careful with the angles because it will roll up your shin. So notice I stop at a certain point, right? I try to keep them rolling up the shins. And I also have it caught on the edge of the shoes. Notice it's up on the edge of my shoes. It's not technically right on the socks. It's at the edge of those shoes. So I'm using that shoe even as a lip to try to hold it in place. So notice where my shoelaces are, they're partially over it. It's because it's right up in that area. So I'm using that to keep it from trying to roll back up your shins. So that's kind of important when you do this, and it can be difficult to set it up in a way that does that. You've got to get the angles right. But once you kind of find that sweet spot, you're able to do these, and that overspeed effect it causes is great. Now I'm using a very light band. I'll probably increase this next time, right? I'm just using a Rogue Red. I'll probably go up to a thicker blue band next time I do these. But this works wonders, and this will help alleviate the situation. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys next time.